I'm Yvette Thomas, and I've worked with EEp during the summers. I was in DC, I was in Las Vegas. I've done the Summer Institute sometimes. It's been a wonderful experience, and I'm so happy here today representing Ms. Yarbrough, who had a medical appointment this morning, couldn't make it. She sent us her reps. First time I'm ever doing this, so just like don't ask any questions. Just, put that back to her. But I am so happy to be here to talk about the educator effectiveness process, because that's what EEp is and it has been over the last 5 years, a really shot in the arm for educators. And so as educators, we know we did not get in this profession because we were going to get rich. We knew that. But we got in here because we wanted to help kids be successful. We wanted to see them do well in school as well as in life. A lot of times we don't get thanked for that. You know, I think maybe being in education is probably the most thankless job there is, other than parenting. And I know that because I have 7 children. So I know all the times we don't get the accolades we deserve. But the value that we put in, we eventually do see. So as educators, we value our profession and that we are committed to making sure that we make an impact in students' lives. And that's what EEp has done over the past 5 years, and I know that you guys have benefited from the process. One of the really big components of EEp was the professional development, which helps teachers to learn and develop their skills over time and to just increase their knowledge base. So we value what we do, and no matter what these kids come with, you know, we can't say they're too poor, they're too low, they're too slow. All of that doesn't matter. What matters is once they get in front of us, they're ours. They're ours like we birthed them. Because we're going to put all of that energy into making sure that they have no excuses. You know, we're going to expect excellence from them. We have to give it to them. We have to be excellent. No matter what our issues are, as one thing that I like to say, as teachers, we have to bond together. Because I know I'm much more successful when I work with the teacher that's lower than my grade, upper than my grade, because then I know where the gaps are, where we can help close that gap so that students are successful. So I'm just really here to encourage you to keep up the good work, and that EEp is, hopefully, as the superintendent said, hopefully this will be extended. But right now we're doing good work. EEp has taken good teachers and made them better teachers. It's taken great teachers and made them even greater teachers. So there's so much room to work with when we know the sky is the limit. We can reach whatever goals we have for our students. They can expect the best from us. I know sometimes maybe we don't feel that really energetic. I mean, there's been days I say, Lord, let me just get out of this classroom today without a headache. You know, I don't care how good you are. All of us have that strand. You know, for the most part, yeah, we all in it, but there's a strand in all of us just want to make it to the day sometime and get over it. But our kids they come back every day. You know, they come back, give me more, give me more. And sometimes it's the worst kids that you will eventually see the greatest value come from. It's those ones that they wish you would give up on, but you just keep I know you can do this. I know. And with the help of EEp, it's given us finances to help us learn how to reach every student, how to be there for them. Yes, sometimes we're the nurses, we're the counselors, we're everything comprised. Because sometimes all we have is the hours that we have before them. Sometimes I know on the weekends, I know I got to double do everything. Because sometimes on Monday, I got to almost redo everything. Because they go home to parents sometimes who don't make them do homework, or who stick them in front of the TV all the time. And so sometimes on Mondays, that's my hardest day sometimes. Because I got to say, remember when we did this, remember? And I got to keep on them. keep on them. I love this reflection weekend because reflecting is one of the most important things teachers have to do. We have to reflect on what went well and what went wrong. Why did it go wrong? Why did it go well? We have to answer all those questions. Sometimes things go well, but it wasn't the way we planned it. So why is that? How can we capture that? So it's really, really great. I love teaching. I've been teaching for 12 years now, and I work with early childhood, so that's the foundation population. And I love instilling the successful strategies that these kids can build on for the rest of their lives. So educators, we might all have different definitions of educators, but we all work in acronyms, teachers, we do. L, EEP, you know. So Ms. Thomas is going to pass out. This is just a little thing we're going to share out. It's educator in acronyms. And what I would like you to do, I'm going to give you 60 seconds, is to just give a brief little description of each letter, what it means to you. Everybody's might be different, some of them might be the same. But I want you to think about you as an educator, how you impact your students, how they impact you, and then come up with something that we will share out. Now, we're going to just take, you know, one per letter, so I'm looking for volunteers to share out. I don't want to point at you, but I do know some of your names, so you know, so just do, it's just your definition. And I'm going to start, okay, and go. And stop. Okay. Everybody say E.
E.
Louder.
E.
First letter in educator. Who's got it? Volunteers. Who's got the E?
Energetic.
Energetic. Very good. D.
D. Oh. Dedicated.
Wait, we need different people.
Doing.
Okay.
Hey, I'm GT, bro.
Okay.
I have to do something to keep me entertained.
Okay. You got D?
Yes, ma'am. Doing.
Doing what?
Doing your best.
All right. Doing your best.
Do your best, baby. You got to do your best.
All right. We got C? Yes.
You.
I mean you? Yes.
Understand.
Understand. Very important. We must understand the people who are in front of us. If we don't understand
I was just
them,
gonna throw it. That was a t-shirt.
we have to understand our kids so we can understand how to help them. Absolutely. Okay, next is C. You got C, yes. Counsel. Just said, counselors. Sometimes you got to get personal with them. They got to be able to trust us. Okay? All right. A?
actor.
Actor. You did actor. Okay, awesome. Tell
You
me.
have to act like the outside world doesn't affect you in the classroom. You have to act like their attitude doesn't affect you.
I like that. Go ahead. Okay, actors. So we're performers. We gotta act like it. They gotta believe, and we're true actors. We gotta make them believe. Listen, I know you can do it. I don't care that you're looking at me and you came in here with your not your homework. You're gonna bring 2 pieces of homework tomorrow, and I mean that. All right. Next is T. Yes.
Tutor.
Tutor, okay. Tutor. We have to, sometimes that's that extra support that we have to give. Absolutely. Absolutely, okay. Oh.
Opening doors.
OCD.
All right.
We are all OCD in our own way. I have a messy table, but I know where everything is.
Ah, okay. All right, who did that? Who did that? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, you already did
She
one.
said OCD.
No, he didn't do one.
Wait a minute, what? I thought I heard open doors. What was that?
I said opening doors.
Opening doors, absolutely. Sometimes these kids coming from the poorest areas, they have not been exposed to a lot of different things. That we can open the doors for them and let them know what's out there, what's available. Show them something different. Show them something new. Okay? And the last one is R.
Ready. We're always ready.
There you go.
Okay, good. Absolutely. Always ready, no matter what. Even on that day when you just want to get out of there without a headache, you got to be ready. You've got to be ready. And I just want to inject one of my C's. I was reading over this book written by Dr. Eric Thomas. He's not related to me, but he is very smart. But he was, in his book, he was writing, the book is Greatness is Upon You. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but in there he talks about the race between the tortoise and the hare. And so we all know that story about the tortoise and the hare. We know the rabbit, very energetic, very fast, and we know the tortoise is very slow. So if we were going to take odds and we didn't know the story, we most likely will all pick the rabbit to win. Why? Because he's faster, right? He can run miles over that turtle. But he doesn't win the race. Why does he not win the race? It wasn't because he wasn't smart enough. It wasn't because he wasn't excited enough. It wasn't because he didn't have the drive. It was because he was not consistent. Once he stopped to take a nap, it was all over. As educators, we can never take a nap. We can never let these kids think that we're off our game. As she said, being an actor, even when we don't feel like it, we got to be on our game. Because that's the way we're going to win the race. Being consistent. That means doing the right thing all the time. It doesn't always mean doing the same thing, but doing the right thing all the time. That's the way we're going to be winners with our kids. So that is the value that Apple has put into education to make sure that we are winners. And so I love it that your superintendent said that if we don't get tier 5, we still got a plan. We still gonna continue being successful. But if we get that extra shot in the arm, we just gonna be that much more successful. But we're not giving up. We're not stopping like, oh, we don't have that. We can't do. No, we can do. Why? Because we're professional. We're gonna always make it happen because that's why we took this profession, because we wanted to make sure that kids were successful. So at this time, I'm going to transition over to another Miss Thomas. You look like the Thomases I've taken out. Not related, but another Miss Thomas I have enjoyed working with.
All right, thank you, Ms. Thomas. Again, my name is Maritha Thomas, and some of you may know me and know Mr. Joseph for some meetings we did. I was a external teacher evaluator, and now I'm a member of the F team. So I've been with F a little bit, and so I have a little bit of knowledge toward F, but there's still some gaps that I'm filling in right now. Again, we, on behalf of Ms. Yarbrough, who is away with a medical procedure, well, she will be back this afternoon to be with you guys. She was just going to be out this morning. So we're filling in, and so bear with us as we continue to talk about help and what it means to you as teachers. As many of you know, 6 years ago, Ms. Yarbrough had a dream, a vision of designing and developing a process that would help charter school teachers become more effective. And that dream and that vision became what is known as the EEp process. Raise your hand if you ever heard of EEp. You heard of that? Okay, awesome. This is the Educators Effectiveness Process. This is a process that has been in place for the last 6 years. The United States Department of Education awarded EEp $13 million. And why is that significant? Because $13 million has supported 10 schools, over 2,000 students, and 250 educators for the last 6 years. That's why it's important. It has been a major part of everybody, including Por Vida, for the last 6 years. There were many schools that got money from the federal government 6 years ago. One that you might be very familiar with in this area is HISD, which is Houston Independent District. They got $15 million, but EEp got 13. As small as EEp is, it got 13. You got 13 here, and you got this big district over here who only got 15. So why do you think that there's a difference in why they got the money? Why they got 13, why we got 13 and they only got 15? Anybody have a guess?
Larger area, more schools involved.
Yeah, but we got almost as much as they did.
Right, that's why they got more, right?
Yeah, no, but why did we get almost as much as they did?
Oh,
They have a bigger budget.
because our product, the way we presented it.
Very good, because we had a plan. We had a very detailed plan on how we would help teachers be more effective. That's why EEp got $13 million. That's exactly why it was. So today we're going to talk about, for the next probably 30 minutes, we're going to talk about EEp and how it relates to tip 3 and how it will relate to tip 5. And we're going to play a little game. We're going to do another analysis. Acronyms. We're going to do some more acronyms. And it's on tip. It's on EEp. And the reason why we're doing this, you say, oh, no, another one. But the reason why is because you really need to know what this means, because this will mean a lot. And in just a few minutes, I will make it relevant to you. You will understand why you need to know these terms. And why if on September 28th, and we get tip 5, well, you'll be so glad, like Mr. Joseph said, you did. So we're going to pass them out. Pass those out for me. And we're only going to take 1 minute, and I want you to fill in as many acronyms as you can. This is not a test, so if you don't know, that's okay. We're going to go through it. Okay. Everybody ready? Begin.
Better get number 7 right, Mr. Frank.
Okay, we have 19 seconds left.
Well, I know that.
Oh, Lord, have mercy. Principal, you better get number 7 right. This is a bigger test than you think.
Okay, time is up. Okay. Raise your hand if you got one right. What about 2? 3? How many got 5? 1? 5. No more than, any more than 5?
You're still
Got
writing.
6?
Peter.
But her picture's not, I just 6, I have like 5.5.
6, okay. So, okay, let them, 7, you give them a prize? Okay, so now what I want to do, I'll give you one more minute, and I want you guys to get together and come up with, see who can come up with the most. The table with the most will get an extra prize.
Come on, Peter. Come on.
Okay, we're going to have one more minute, we're going to see.
Educational rights to parents. Family educational rights to parents.
Right away, create opening.
Yeah, principal.
Family, education.
Good job. Hard work. Privacy Act.
Leaders.
Yeah,
I get anything for this guy?
teachers, remember we don't get a
Okay, pencils down, pencils down. So, let's see how many table 1 has. How many of you guys, how many does table 1 have?
We have number 1, we have number 2, we have number 4, we have number 7, we have number 8, we have number 10, we have number 11, 16, 17, we have 17 total. 18 total.
18 total. Okay, table 2.
Okay,
One.
I want to go before the state board of education. There's the resources are not. We've got hella resources over here. Nothing over here.
Okay, so how many over here? 5. 10.
So 15 incorporates.
So 15.
15.
Yeah, y'all should be
So
together.
we got 10.
That's it.
We put them together, they got 15.
Let's give them 20. They got 20. Y'all win.
Okay, okay, what's that?
Say what?
Right, yeah, with everybody. Everybody's a winner. Give everything. Okay.
What's all you find?
I'm not familiar with that.
I'm sorry.
No mercy, right?
That's right.
So you can have it, some of those are very, very good.
Do we all know?
It shows my belly button.
Ow.
No, I take it. Yeah, I push it. What do you think?
Is that Oscar the Crow?
It is.
Get to my door. Takes a lot. The door and the sun takes a lot.
Okay.
Like this too.
Oh, and I'm sorry, this young man is my son, and he's gonna go around, and his name is Seth,
That's your son.
and he's gonna go around and finish passing out everybody. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna quickly go over, because we wanna be very conscious of your time today.
That's what I did.
So we're gonna go over these very quickly. Number 1 is career teacher. Simply a classroom teacher. That's all it is. It's a classroom teacher. Number 2, career teacher leader. A career teacher leader is a teacher that has a classroom, but she or he takes time out of their classroom to support other teachers through mentoring, through doing observations, any number of things. So that is a career teacher. Number 3 is CEM, and that is a Tip 3 acronym, Charter Equity Model, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. And number 4 is F. Everybody should have gotten F right. Raise your hand if you did. If you did not get F right. Everybody. F is Educator Effectiveness Process, and it was in Tip 3, and it will be also in Tip 5 as well. F Campus is a campus within, it's a campus that implements the F initiative. That's all it is. And Por Vida is one of those campuses, and will be one of those campuses if we receive Tip 5. Number 6, Expert Teacher Leader is a career teacher who spends the majority of their time outside of the classroom mentoring, supporting, evaluating, coaching, and they have a leadership role. FERPA. FERPA is the Family Education Right and Privacy Act, which outlines parents and students' rights. And I know some of you special education teachers, you are very familiar with this, but it's throughout the scope. Fiscal agent is entity that will be responsible for dispersing and accountability of all funds. Youth Empowerment Service was responsible for dispersing the $13 million to all 10 schools, to 2,000 students, and over 215 educators. So they make sure everything is paid, and they make sure that it's dispersed equally and fairly as well. It is a nonprofit agent. GGA is George Gervin Academy. It is one of the 4 LEAs that will be implementing F3 and also will be implementing Tip 5. Excuse me. And it has 3 campuses. And we're going to stop right here because we want to talk just a little bit about Tip 5 and Tip 3. In Tip 5, one of the things that you will see, you're going to see the superintendent is very actively engaged in Tip 5. Mr. Joseph said, oh, we've already met, we talked about new ways, a new evaluation process. They have been actively engaged in Tip 5, and they will be in Tip 5. They have agreed to meet monthly and make sure that everything is going correctly on the timeline it's supposed to be done. It's a huge responsibility, but they have agreed to take that on. Okay? Grantee is the entity awarded the grant, which is Youth Empowerment Services in F Project. HCMS, which is Human Capital Management System, and that is another Tip 5 term. And basically, I'll give you like an overview of what Human Capital Service is. It is, instead of getting a incentive for a good performance, it becomes a part of your salary in Tip 5. It is basically from Tip 5, and it goes along with everything that was in Tip 3 is still in Tip 3, but it includes Human Capital Management Service. LEA, which is the local education agency, and that is every LEA. Por Vida is one as well. Lead applicant is the entity that will complete and submit the grant, and that was the EEp and Youth Empowerment Service. MOU is Memorandum of Understanding, and that is saying that you have a clear understanding about what is being implemented in the TIP projects. 15, PBCS, which is performance-based compensation. And that's what has been happening in EEp. If you had great performance, you got great salaries. If you did okay, you got not so good salaries. It's based on your performance. Number 16, PS, which is Positive Solution Charter School, which is one of the LEAs. PVA. Does anybody know what PVA stands for? Por Vida Academy. And that's one of the LEAs, and you guys have 3 campuses, correct? Okay. That will be under the tip 5 as well. SWP Southwest Prep, which is also one of the LEAs as well. TEAS, which is Texas Educational Equity System, is the name of the 4 district superintendents which agreed to form the collaborative group. And TIP. TIP is Teacher Incentive Fund. That is what tip 3 was. That is what tip 5 is. Each one of them is different. Tip 5 is more relevant to what you do as a teacher. USDOE is the United States Department of Education, and YES is Youth Empowerment Service, which is the nonprofit that was responsible for dispersing the $13 million. Okay, do you have any questions on any of these? And the reason why I went over these for you is because it's going to be, and we have those separate. You pass these out for me. So if you didn't get a copy of these, you have a copy. No, you did. So the reason why I kind of went over this because some of you are new to the EEp project, and some of you have been here ever since it was implemented. Raise your hand if you have been here ever since the very beginning of EEp, the EEp project. So there are a few of you that have been here. But how many of you are new to EEp? So we want to be all on the same page as we begin to talk about EEp and what it will do for you. For instance, have you ever seen this before? Has everybody seen this? No? Okay. This was the evaluation process, observation process for teachers and educators. And it included the principals. In tip 5, there will be an observation process for the superintendents as well. This was the value added. This is where the performance money, this is where you got your incentive. This is where you got your money from. This is the way it was broken down. From school-wide, teacher classroom to teacher observations to teacher value added. And this one which included the principal. Tip 5 will be a little bit different. And if we get tip 5, and we'll know on September 28th, we'll have another time where we'll roll out and we'll talk about it at that time. But right now, we've applied for tip 5, but we have no idea whether we're going to actually get tip 5. There were approximately 87 applications that were turned in. And they are only going to award about 10 grants from that 87. So why do we think we have a good shot at getting it? Because we had, you're absolutely correct, because we had a plan in tip 3, and also because EEp was one of the first projects to receive a no cost extension, which meant that after our 5 years was over in December, they say, you guys are doing such a great job, carry on. You have enough money, keep going. That's exactly what it was. And before that, it had never happened before. But because of the things that were taking place in EEp, they saw value in it. So they gave us an additional year. They didn't give us any more money, but they did give us an additional year. So for that reason, and the reason that all of the LEAs have stayed together. And that's unheard of. The United States Department of Education gave out many, many grants. Some to school districts, some to states, and some states gave their money back. Hawaii gave their money back. They said this is too complicated. We can't get along. We can't figure this out. And they gave their money back. But Mr. Joseph and all of the other superintendents, they have worked really hard together to make sure that they could work it out and make it together, and they've managed to stick together during this whole period of time. So that's another reason why they think that they have such a good shot, and they have really worked really hard to make sure that everything that was needed in tip 5 is in tip 5. And so it was submitted on July 15th, and we will know. So we need your prayers, we need you, because I'm going to tell you why.
Like the candles?
Yes, look at here, look at this.
Yes, that's why.
That's why. Tip 3 was only for $13 million. Tip 5 will be 5 times as much. Can anybody say, woo, that's a lot of money? That's a lot of money. And that means that that money will be coming to you. You guys have an opportunity to make a lot of money. A lot of money. We all know that the cap for most of the, here in Texas is you can work 20 years and still make maybe $60,000. If you've been here 20 years, you might be lucky if you make $20,000. But with the human capital management system, you have the possibility to make a lot more money. Dallas teachers are under the human capital management system now. A teacher in Dallas for 5 years who's made her, he or she has made her performance can make about $75,000 in 5 years, starting out. So that kind of gives you just an idea of how much money they can be made for performance. So, we'll go back, and a part of this is also the evaluation from the 3 people, which is the principals, the ETLs, and the CTL. And see, that's why I wanted to go over acronyms, so you can make sure that you know, especially for those new people, know what these are. And as always, professional development is another very important part. During the summer times, most of the time, you see your CTLs and your ETLs and your principals and your superintendents going to professional development, and they usually bring it back, and then they disperse it in the campuses. Well, today, because of your superintendent, because of Mr. Joseph and the other superintendents, they said, let's do something different. We want to have a retreat with all our people so we can talk to our people, so we can get some feedback. So that's why you are here today. It's because they had a vision that they wanted to do something different. Not just give it to the ETLs and the CTLs, but they wanted to have an opportunity to spend time with you and get input from you. Now, that $13 million, it paid for your rooms. It paid for this room. It's going to pay for your per diem. It pays for your travel expense. All of that money came from that $13 million. But I want you to give Mr. Joseph a hand clap, because they had the vision. They said, this is important. See, you guys don't see all the things that he does behind the scenes. He's working hard for you. Okay?
October 16th, I'll give a big kiss.
On September the 29th, let's keep out, look, let's do some praying, because this will mean a lot of money. A lot of money. For all of the campuses of all the LEAs, all of the teachers and all the educators. And it would also mean that for people who are not just directly, those ESL coordinators and those special education people, anybody who has anything, Tip 5 has brought everybody on board. If you have anything to do with student learning, you will be a part of this. Whereas in the past, it was only basically, you know, teachers and the administrators. This will would also include the vice principals. Everybody that's involved will be able to benefit from it. Okay? This is the second part of this, and it's the EEp observation route. There are 19 indicators. You guys, I'm sure, are probably familiar with these 19 indicators because if you've had observations, you've had a walkthrough. These things are things that they are looking for in those observations. And also, you've probably been in unit meetings where you've talked about these 19 indicators. Okay? Now we're going to talk really briefly about educators' effectiveness right after Ms. Thomas talks about ROI, which is return on investment. And that is about money.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Thomas. You want to pull that up for us? So, more acronyms, return on investment. So, basically, speaking from an educated point of view, we invest in our students. We invest in them, we invest time, effort, and we expect a return on that investment. We expect for them to learn what we're teaching them. When you get hired at your job, your school is making you an investment in you. They're saying, I believe that you can make a difference here. I believe that you can bring value to our school. And so they hire you. So they're looking on a return of their investment when it comes. As she was saying, the $13 million that went out helped us to impact what our return on investment will be. And this is, you can scroll up.
Okay.
So, so the goal of the educator effectiveness process, increase the effectiveness of principals. Because of all the professional developments, everything that went on, this gave them the power to increase that effectiveness. It's just the ability to be better, to improve. Okay, go ahead. The human capital system that she just talked about, paying everybody for their effective outcome. So if you got an incentive, what you were saying in tip 3, good performance, good pay. In tip 5, it will become part of your salary. So this stays as an incentive, but also now, because you have done better, you're going to put that in your salary, which goes to your retirement. It connects different. So the possibilities are greater for more funds increase. Go ahead. What is an investment? We all are investments. We all are capital. We all have to produce to get a return, value out of what we do. So the investment in Por Vida, go ahead, we have for over the past 5 years, okay, so this is how do we get the return on investment? Increase stakeholders, which we all are, support and communication with continuous buy-in. The most influential stakeholders must have continuous commitment buy-in and ensure all members in the community buy-in. That means what we dishing out, we got to make it sell. What we say our kids can learn here, we got to make it happen. Okay? We all are stakeholders in that. And EEp has supplied the funds to ensure that there's widespread use of quality development. And as Ms. Thomas was speaking to the professional development, in tip 3, they allowed $33,000 for professional development. That's how much they believe that helping teachers with keeping up with their skills, making opportunities for them to learn better, more, was important. In tip 5, they allowed it even more money. That was one of the key things that they really applauded for, was the professional development. So I believe it's $50,000 in tip 5. More opportunities to learn, more opportunities for growth. Okay, go ahead. Okay, go ahead. This is more about the incentives. Go ahead. Okay, what benefit have you had from the investment? Okay, go ahead. So Chavez School District. Okay, click it. Over the past 5 years, go ahead. This is Chavez. This is what was invested in this campus over the past 5 years. Okay, $341,000. Okay, go ahead. This is Por Vida. This is the money that went to educators, not administrators, educators, programs. This is what the money, the funds that went out to this campus. Go ahead. Okay, that's the total for both. So I know until 5, the next one is going to be all 3 campuses. So even greater opportunities for more growth. Okay, so this is what return on investment. The funds are there to make sure that we're successful, to help us make sure that our students are successful, and that we have the opportunity to do our very best. So I am so happy, and as she said, we're all praying and lighting candles and doing whatever necessary to keep hope alive that we get that grant. But as she said, there's no guarantee. But you know what? We've done great. We've grown as teachers, as educators. We've grown. So as we said, we can't stop if we don't. We got to keep going. But I'm so happy to have been able to share this time with you. So happy that you have given us this time. And we just have one more piece that we're going to transition in before we close. And that's basically the rollout of tip 5. What was the kind of like a culminating piece?
Okay. We have one more piece and then we will be finished. We appreciate you allowing us to have an hour. This is the most important part because this means money to everyone. This can help everybody. This can help the children. It can help educators. It can help everybody. So this is what is called a Tip 5 abstract. The federal government requires every applicant to prepare an abstract. And an abstract is simply one page that says what you're going to do, what are you going to do, and how you're going to do it. And one of the things that we want to help you to understand is that this money is for every one of you. It will be an impact across the board. Nobody will get more than the other, or everybody will have equal share. So let's look at, we're going to, has everybody got one? Okay, we're going to do a little core reading because I want to make sure that everybody reads this, everybody understands, because it has to have what? 100% buy-in. Okay? So we're going to, let me get one. Thank you. We're going to read this together, and at the end, there is a frequently asked question. If you have a question about tip 5, write that in this blank. And on September 28th, when we find out, hopefully, that we have tip 5, we're going to have a frequently asked questions. To answer every question, please include your name and your phone number, and your email address, so we can contact you if we have any questions about your question. Because we want to answer the questions that you have. We only have an hour, so we have less than that. We have about 9 minutes. So we want to make sure that we give you all the information that you need about this. But I'll say real quickly about this. This is the last of the Obama administration's tips. And it will be $70,000. $70 million for, and $70 million was set out for schools to be, and school districts to be more relevant this year than before. So they are really looking for things that will really make it relevant to children and impact student achievement. So we're going to 1, 2, 3, begin to read. And we'll read the first one, then I'll ask a volunteer to do it. Let's do the first paragraph together. 100% of educators employed by participating LEAs have voiced a unanimous yes vote to submission of this TIP project by signing this campus buy-in form included in the attachment. The educators affecting this process, F, has been extremely successful.
Past 6 years, as educators' effectiveness has increased, so has the academic performance of the students. With this request, all educators have agreed that the next component to add to the evaluation system with support and the PBCS is an addition to the HCMS process.
Okay, so how many percent have bought in? 100%. And many of you, even if you didn't know it, who signed the form saying yes, might not know what you were saying yes to, but you were saying yes, I buy into this, I'm a part of this, I'm a participant. And you have input, you have voice. One of the greatest things about Tip 5 is everybody has voice. From the 1-year teacher to the 25-year teacher. Everybody has voice. And everybody has agreed that they're going to do everything possible to make this work. Okay, can I get a volunteer?
Freedom.
Sure.
I should say, don't make me try. Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
To read?
Yes.
Second
You need
paragraph?
a microphone?
Second paragraph.
No.
Okay.
Youth Empowerment Services, Inc. is the name of the nonprofit 501c partner and the fiscal agent for this TIP 5 project. 4 LEAs representing 100% of their 13 campuses are part of the TIP 5 partnership. George Gervin Academy, Por Vida Academy, Positive Solutions Academy, and Southwest Preparatory Academy. We are all part of the Texas Education Equity System, TEAS, partnership with the vision of ensuring that all students have equitable access to effective educators.
And they have all agreed. All of these academies, all these LEA have agreed to be a partner in this TIP 5. Someone else want to read this?
Mora, does.
Within this TIP 5 project narrative is the documented evidence that our project meets the components of the absolute priority 1, competitive priority 2, and the invitational priority 1 by aligning the shared instructional improvement vision of ensuring all students have equitable access to effective educators with the LEA's improvement efforts and comprehensive reforms that include alignment with the existing evaluation system with supports the PBCS and the requested HCMS.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you. So that means that as you have agreed to this, you also have agreed to perform and be high achievers, to be just like you want your children to be high achievers, to be high achievers as well. To do your very best, as Ms. Thomas said, to do your very best in this classroom as a reward, as an incentive. You will have performance-based and you will have HCMS. And as she said, which is huge, because instead of just making an incentive, it becomes a part of your salary and it's sustainable. So when and that's huge for people like me. Well, we're retired, and everybody else in here, retired. The more you make, the more you get when you retire. So that's very important. Okay, another volunteer. Thank you.
All of the 13 LEA individual schools qualify as high-need campuses. The 13 schools are 3 George Gervin campuses, 2 in San Antonio, 1 in Phoenix, 3 Por Vida Academy campuses, 1 in San Antonio and 2 in Corpus Christi, Texas, 1 Positive Solution Academy campus in San Antonio, Texas, and 6 Southwest Prep campuses, 5 in San Antonio and 1 in Seguin, Texas.
Absolutely. So in the past, there may have not been all sections of all, but now every LEA campus are included. And finally, our goal is to utilize a multifaceted robust, and relevant approach to add an effective human capital management system to the existing effective USDA approved PBCS evaluation to ensure that all students, especially special needs and ELL students, have equitable access to effective educators. And on that note, I want to thank you for allowing us to be here. And if you would take 30 seconds so we can be on time, we have 2 minutes. 30 seconds to, if you have a question, please write it down. We really do want to answer this. And when we're going to be positive, get our grant on September 28th, we will let everybody know, and everybody, we're going to do it. Happy days. But we want to be able to answer any questions that you have, to roll it out quickly so that you can start preparing to make the transition. We will close out December 31st from EEp on tip 3, and we'll be trying to roll out tip 5. So I want to thank you again. You guys have been a great audience. Please give yourself a hand clap. And I know this is hard information first thing in the morning. You're still very sleepy. But thank you so very much. And
Thanks so much.
please know that we are here for you. And Ms. Yarborough will be here. I'll be here part of the day. Ms. Yvette will be here. And Ms. Yarborough will be here shortly. And if there's anything that we haven't done, she can close the gap on the loop on anything that you guys still have questions on.
So fill out the bottom, and I'm coming around to collect. You can keep the tops if you want. If you don't, you can pass them back.
So if you have a question, please.
And if you don't want to put your question on that, you put it on a post-it note and keep it anonymous and just throw it on the board.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you can do that.
Throughout the day. If you have a question on anything we talk about today, just throw it up there, and at the end of the day, we'll.
And we'll get it, I promise you, we'll get it by the
And
end.
if there's one especially for youth empowerment services, just put a yes on it, so I know we get it straight back to you, ladies.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, let's take 5 minutes. 5 minutes only. I got the timer on. 5 minutes.
Joe,
Yes.
Joe, I do checks too.
Oh,
so,
checks. We
yeah.
can get checks. That's a good.